Hi, this is Riaz from Networks Learning. Welcome to Cisco Next Generation Firewall Training. In this lab, we will configure the NAT configurations, specifically the port address translation for our lane subnets to be mapped onto the outside firewall interface. We are using FMC and FTD version 7.0 over here, and this is my lab topology. Previously, we saw how we can configure access control rule for ICMP traffic for our access device, which is this router, and the traffic was passing through access control policy, but the NAT configuration was missing. In this lab, we will perform the NAT configuration, and previous policy, access control policy, is already defined over here. You are seeing this lab topology. I'm just working only on this firewall segment currently. However, the network down to this firewall, these firewalls is already configured, and I will show you the entire network packet flow once the firewall segment configuration is completed. So let me show you the access control policy first, then we will move towards the NAT configuration for the access subnet. This was the rule which we used to configure the ICMP traffic for our ITPC, which in this case is this router, and the traffic was passing, but we were unable to get the response. The access control policy was working, but the NAT policy was not configured. So I will configure NAT on this outside interface of the firewall, and will use the port address translation for entire LAN subnet to be mapped onto the outside interface of this firewall. Either way, you can also configure NAT over here on this FA2/0 of the edge router interface, but you have to route and the subnet towards the router as well. But firewall, in this case, I will be using the firewall for netting. So let's go to the NAT configurations. Here, NAT. There is no default policy for NAT. Create a near threat defense NAT policy, and I will name it as IT subnet NAT, and the policy is applicable to NGFW primary firewall. Click Save. There are multiple rules for NAT specifically based on your requirements. You can configure auto NAT, manual NAT, one-to-one, one-to-many, and all sort of NAT configurations. We will configure auto NAT rule with the type of dynamic, original interface, source, available interface groups. For this, you will have to create some kind of interface groups. Okay, so inside zone, routed outside. Before that, we will need to configure some object groups. Let me show you. We come to interfaces. Here I will configure interface groups. Inside interface group, leave it primary. This would be routed inside, and this is my inside VLAN 199. I will get to this one. Okay, inside interface group. And then we have outside interface group. This is also routed. we can say that this is our outside VLAN interface. So you can come back over here and add a rule, auto dynamic interface group. Inside interface group is my source. This is under VLAN 199. Outside is the destination under VLAN 201. In translation happens based on our source. And here you need to provide the source IP. ITPC is our source. You can also specify the subnet or multiple ranges against the subnets. Translated source is our destination interface IP address, the outside interface. Click on OK. This rule is configured. This is auto. Save and go to deployment. Deploy. Let's wait for its completion. Once it's completed, I'll be back. Let me pause the video. So our deployment is completed successfully. We have configured the NAT policy. Let's try and figure out the response at access layer with the connection events visibility as well. So I will initiate an access. Yes, this time you can see that I am getting a response from the 8.8.8 initiated from the access device, this one, and this results that our access control policy plus our NAT policy both are working correctly. That's why we are able to get response at our access device. In connection events, I can see you here, this one packet coming from this source and going to 8.8.8, and the action is allowed. Let me show you multiple functionalities. Application risk. Based on risk, you can also block it. Based on business relevance, you can also allow applications, URL categories. It's access control policy rule. Access control policy, and under access control policy, it's matching the rule of allow ICMP ITPC, and it's following predefined default predefined policy. Device is NGFW primary. Ingress interface is 199 over 201, and this is how you can allow access control and perform the NAT configurations. Sure. In next video, I will cover the rest of the access for basic internet access to the access layer, one of the access layer PC plugged in at IT VLAN 12, and we will configure HTTP, HTTPS, DNS basic connectivity, internet connectivity access for that PC. So in this video, I showed you how you can configure NAT, and in previous video I showed you how you configure the access control for the LAN devices. Thanks for watching my videos, and keep watching for more stuff to come. Thank you so much.